Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. You know, I always like to kick things off with something super interesting. And I know that you're out there online dating, and guys, you think that you are just so hot, right? You're sitting there going like, boy, they're just going to love me if I can just rip off my shirt and show my 12-pack and my great hairy chest. Oh, they're just going to drool, and they're going to just say, I am the man of their dreams. Okay, research out, new study from the medical journal, Personal Relationships. They say that if you're sending these spicy texts to someone you just started chatting with online, you're actually not helping yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. That's right.
Shocker.
Researchers got 275 adults to imagine if they received either a normal greeting or something more explicit in a dating app. And guess what? These sexy icebreakers, negative. You don't want to do that. That's right. People appreciate mystery. They appreciate, companionship and trueness and substance and a lot less chest hair in their inbox. That's right. Okay. And also, you want to watch out for anyone, if you're online dating there, who says that they live in an exclusive gated community. Exclusive gated community. That's prison. Yes. Okay. Don't want to do that. That's right. It's Friday, tech lovers, and that means it's time for Kim Commando Today. And you want to buckle up because I'm telling you, this episode is just turbocharged. And we also have a double delight for you. 2-star players from the Commando Mediaverse. We're talking about radio, podcasts, websites, and newsletters, and a whole bunch more. First up, we have our amazing content queen. She's always here, Allie Seligman. And Allie, how are you going to impress the audience with your extreme intellect?
Oh, man, no pressure. I have some updates you need to know about for basically all of your tech devices. And I have a good way for you to measure your steps or how much you're walking, how much you're exercising without having to buy anything fancy like a smartwatch.
Okay, so now we've been talking about getting steps because, I'm like into like my 25, 30 miles a week.
Yes.
Okay, now it's a little hot in Phoenix, Al. Are you still getting your steps?
My gosh.
Okay.
I'm trying. I got to 10,000 yesterday, but there was a day where it's so hard. You have to get out there really early or late at night, but still at 8 p.m. it's 105 degrees. So,
but no. We're having the summer of positivity.
Summer positivity.
Okay.
You get a nice sweat, a good sheen.
Yes.
Schwitz.
Yes. And you don't sweat, you glow. Women, we glow.
Yes, of course.
That's right. And then, of course, you hear Matthew. He's our magnificent millennial and internet scout. And so, Matt, what do you have for us?
I wanted to talk about how drones are helping fight wildfires all across the world, as well as a really cool, handy use for the Notes app on your iPhone. And we're going to talk about the first posts on every social media.
Ooh, there you go. All right, let's kick things off with the news. And I don't know, maybe it was just me, but until I read the story, for some reason, I thought that when satellites were in space, they kind of said, this lane is my lane, this lane is your lane, and if they wanted to jump a lane, they put on a blinker and they went into the next lane. I didn't really just figure out really, truly, until this past week, that they're just all up there and control chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I bring this up is that each SpaceX satellite dodges objects in orbit 140 times a day.
Whoa.
Gosh, could you imagine that? It's like, whoa, there's another one. Whoa, there's another one.
It's like rush hour all the time.
It is. So they're bobbing and weaving out of this, intergalactic traffic. Now, there are over 4,000 of these Starlink satellites in orbit. And since SpaceX started launching these satellites back in 2019, they've had to pull off about 25,000 maneuvers so that they didn't collide with anything.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay. All right. See, again, I thought it was just you fly an airplane, you have these little routes you go on, If you get over 40,000 feet, you may be able to miss a little waypoint along the way.
You get 3 miles.
No, exactly. So out of these 25,000 intergalactic moves, about 1,300 of them were to avoid debris from a Russian anti-satellite weapon that was back in 2021.
Whoa.
Yeah. So about 9% of the junk is still floating around. It's still the biggest headache out there, which reminds me of a story that I once heard. Okay. 2 astronauts are chilling on the space station when one turns to the other. I can't find any milk for my coffee on this darn thing. And then the second astronaut replies, in space, no one can. Here, use cream. Okay, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
All right, because some of them I know, I'm like, okay, that was even lame for me to say. Okay, but that one, kind of cracked me up myself. All right. Okay, so Matt, you're talking about drones, right?
Yeah, wildfires are like a really big problem. I know, especially here in Arizona, but also all across the world. We had just witnessed all of the wildfires in Canada and the smoke going into New York. It was crazy. But, they're trying to use new technology to help fight these wildfires. And they've actually been using drones for quite a while to do a few jobs. So the drones are used to get close to the fires and see where the front of the fire is, to be able to go into cabins around there and find out there's people in there, and to be able to track the spread of the fire. So they've been using drones for years. But drones have not been actually fighting the fire itself, spraying water, putting out the fire themselves, until now. A company based out of Portugal called Viegas is actually building drones that can actually fight the fires. So how these things work is they have a long tube that hangs off the bottom of this drone. And this tube is filled with water, and then there's hoses coming off of that tube. It then flies about 50 feet above little smoldering fires, and it will release all that water, putting out these little brush fires or the edges of fire, what have you.
Nice.
Right? And this can be really, really helpful. Now, this is not a normal drone. This is enormous. This has a 7-foot wingspan.
Whoa.
It weighs over a ton, and everything in it is completely made out of carbon fiber to protect it from the heat, even the blades. So, we think of normal drones that you can go get on Amazon or go to Best Buy, right? They're going to have those like plastic kind of flimsy propellers that if it got close to a fire, that would probably melt, right?
Not be good. No.
Exactly. Well, again, it's carbon fiber, so they can get into those hot positions. Now, it's not 100% done. They have a few of these prototypes out, and they are fighting fires in Portugal. And actually, recently, they were requested by the Canadian government to send these over there to help them fight the wildfires going on over there.
Nice.
But the company Viegas is actually trying to get grants from different governments across the world to make these things more affordable. They're actually trying to get the price down from what it is right now, which is over $250K, to be about $100K, so that they can sell a lot more to different firefighters across the country or across the world to help fight wildfires. So we'll see if this becomes a thing. I think it will be.
That's incredible.
Now, did you see any stats about how effective they are?
They are incredibly effective at small fires. That's the goal of them, is to be able to get to the edges of the fire to help stop little flare-ups when the fire jumps from a tree to another tree or a bush or what have you. But it's not going to be able to put out, the entire fire just by a single drone. I mean, they're not huge. They are, but they're not like a plane, right? With that purple, that red, gross chemically stuff.
What is that anyway?
I don't know. I think it's Cheeto dust. I'm not sure.
Close your mouth.
Well, that's good stuff, Matt. Thanks for sharing that. All right. So, are we bad news alley again?
A little bit, but
Okay.
I don't know. This is the update because there are updates for everything right now. When I say update problems, what do you think of?
Windows.
Yeah,
Right?
Windows.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, guess what? Surprise. This time it's Apple.
Oh.
Yes, they just released one of their new rapid security response updates. These are it's not like a full iOS update where you have to wait forever, restart your phone. These ones are just really quick because they're trying to address little security issues. And this one fixed something that hackers were using. It was being actively exploited, except the update broke everybody's phones.
Oopsies.
There were issues with Safari, and so a lot of websites didn't work. These are things like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Zoom. So, things people might actually want to use. So they rolled back the whole update. If you installed it, you can roll back to a previous version, so you can get rid of it. And because this was an active exploit, I imagine they are working hard on fixing this. So look for that on your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, whatever, soon, because there will be a new one for sure. Windows, yes, there is a Windows Update 2. Patch Tuesday fixes a bunch of issues this time, about 26. Some of those are critical.
Wait, I just had to say, imagine if, let's just say it's not Windows. Let's say it's your car.
Yeah.
Okay. And GM rolls out an update that fixes 26 issues and one critical one.
Yeah. Jeez.
Great.
But because you say it's like Windows, everybody's like,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what happens
Yeah.
every month. Yes. Anyway, I'm sorry, Allie. I interrupted
No, all
you.
good.
But-
So if you have Windows 10, 22H2, which is the 2022 version, or the 2021 version, you will get this. I just had the pop-up on my computer. Or you can go to Settings and then click on your Windows Update. And finally, Android. The July update is out for Pixels, which always get it first. I just got this one too. There are lots of security issues resolved in this one too. There are 2 different patches. And the vulnerabilities range from moderate to critical. So if you get this on your phone, yes, please update. If you have a Samsung or another Android, you'll get it later. It's usually a couple weeks behind. The Pixels always get it first. They make us test to make sure it works.
Oh.
So
Okay, so basically, Allie, you could have cut to the chase. Okay?
update everything you own.
Just whatever you have, just update it because there are like not so bad problems, but there are really, really bad
Critical.
critical problems,
Yes.
and just you need to update. And on that happy note, let me tell you what's coming up because you don't want to miss this. I have a great tip about a mistake that you may be making with your rental car. We have secret tricks to use your Notes app that you're going to love and you're going to use time and time again. You can also track your steps without buying more stuff. And of course, we have a great joke at the end. And who is it this week?
I'm on joke duty.
Okay, 1's 10, Al.
You know what? I'm going to say this one is an 8.
Oh, she's
it's
going
a
out
high
there.
bar.
I usually undersell myself, but you know what? I feel confident about this one.
Now, okay, could you go 9? Could you go 9?
Kim, don't tempt me. Ask me again later.
Okay, that means it's a solid 7. So you don't want to miss it. Stay
Yes.
right where you are. Hey, we're so delighted to have you with us here on Kim Commando today because you are among the elite, that you start your whole tech experience every single day with the Kim Commando Today podcast. But you also, I bet, get the current newsletter. If you're not getting the current newsletter, over, 400,000 people are getting it every single day, and you're going to totally love it. I looked at the stats this morning, guys, okay? We have 2,234 people so far that give us a thumbs up.
Nice.
Okay. We have 379 people that are like, meh. I like it, but I don't love it. That's what I was like. And then we've got 86 losers who just give us a thumbs down.
Come on.
Okay, what is up with that? Okay. So if you're not getting the newsletter, you're totally going to love it. Just head over to getkim.com. Or if you want to go because you're tech savvy, you can go commando.com/subscribe. Once again, that's commando.com/subscribe. Once you're there, just give us your email address. And then you get the current news. And then we're going to be rolling out the tech tip in the afternoons. And then you get the security alerts, all free. We have one sponsor a day, which reminds me. These are some great stats. So if you're sitting there listening, how can I reach a tech-savvy audience that will respond to an ad? Okay, this is the place. I'm telling you. Allie, what our open rate over 50%?
Yep.
And people are clicking the ads, right?
They really are, yeah. And we only put in ads that we can stand behind. So I think that pays off, right? People trust them.
So if you want to buy an ad, it's really simple. Just send us an email to currentads@commando.com. That's currentads@commando.com. Now, I will tell you, I did get an email from somebody who said, I wrote a kid's book and it's up on Amazon. It's an ebook and I have $50 for an ad.
Oh.
Okay, you know what? We just can't take it. And I'm sorry. When you have more money, you could come back to us. But and that sounds really crazy. I know it does. But I'll tell you a story. It was obviously many years ago when David Friend came out. He was then starting out with Carbonite. And he said, I have $100,000 to give you for ads to roll out Carbonite. And he gave me the whole demo and everything was going on. And I looked at him. I said, you know what, David? I don't want you to waste your money. So I want you to take your $100,000 and go invest it into your company. And then when you have more money, come back and then we'll see what we can do. Okay. And he did. He came back. And at one point he was spending $1 million or so a year with us. And so, I don't want you to waste your money. So unless you have a decent advertising budget, just save your cash until you do. Because I always want to be able to look in the mirror and say, hey, we did right by that person.
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, it's currentads@commando.com. All right, let's do some tips. These are these quick little hits that people can use time and time again. And so you go to rent a car, right? It's pretty exciting stuff. Okay.
Do I get that extra insurance? What do I do?
I know, exactly. Okay. Do you have a free upgrade? That's always my question.
Yeah.
Can I get a free upgrade? Because I have a thing about red cars. And I tell them that too, by the way. It always works. They're like, oh, you don't like red? I'm like, nah, it kind of makes me a little Lulu. They're like, oh, how about blue? I'm like, okay, blue's great. So you get in your car and you hook in your phone. And then what happens? All your data is directly imported into that rental car. So the bottom line here is that when you turn around and you turn in the car, is just make sure that you go ahead and erase all your data. If you can do a factory reset, that would be one thing. So just a little tip to keep in mind as you're traveling around. But, we're going to write about this in the newsletter because I just thought it was so cool. And I don't know if you saw the link, but it's to a new car rental service. This is not a joke. This is true. There's a new rental car service in Vegas called Haro, Haro.
Okay.
This to me is crazy. Okay. You go online on your app, whatever, download the app, and you say, oh, I'm staying at the MGM. Okay. And I'd like to rent a car for a couple of hours or a day or two, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to go do the car races in Vegas, which if you haven't done those, so fun. 10 laps in a pista, I was in heaven.
Oh,
but
my
anyway,
gosh.
It was a little hot, but that's okay. Anyway, I digress. So you get on the app and you say, I want this car. It's an electric self-driving car. It drives itself to the MGM.
Oh.
Cool.
Isn't
awesome.
that crazy?
Yeah.
Just drives itself right to, that's it, to the hotel. And
Love
you just
that.
get in and you're like, oh, thank you. I needed a rental car. Okay, so what do you have for us, Matt?
There was a ton of these productivity and notes app that you can get from the App Store. I know that some of them are really, really handy. I know, Allie, you use a few of them all the time, Notion, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to use it on your phone and you have an iPhone, the Notes app might be the best one of these that you can use. And I have a few tricks that I've recently learned that I wanted to share with all of you that really, really are handy. So the first one is when you have a note, did you know you can add tags to it, like hashtags? So if you're writing a note and let's say you're doing a grocery list, well, if you type hashtag grocery list and then you go back to your main menu and in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a little folder. If you click that, it'll say create smart folder. Then you just make it with that tag. And every time you put that hashtag in a note, it's automatically put in that folder.
Nice.
I did not know that.
Yes, me neither. I've actually been using this a lot because I have all these notes for planning my wedding, right? So I have, the registry. I have people that have already sent us stuff. I have the list of guests. And I just hashtag everything wedding. And it all automatically goes in that folder, so I don't have to worry about where it's going to be.
Love that.
Speaking of your wedding, I just want to let you know, I don't have to sit at the head table.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I was working on the seating chart, and I was like,
She
where do I
would
put
prefer
Kim?
between you and Jenny.
Yeah, I was going to have her on like a throne in the corner was a thing, and it just says digital goddess across the top.
And I'd be sitting there going, yes, thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. God, could you imagine?
Yes.
I can, yes, indeed. Now, another one is a really good privacy one. You don't want people snooping through your phone, especially say it's like Christmas time and you have your list for everybody's presents and you don't want your wife or significant other to go through your phone and see what you're going to buy her, right? You can put a lock on any note you have that only uses your face. So even if they know the passcode to your phone, they can't get in the note without your face. So what you're going to do is in any note, top right corner, 3 little dots, click it, boom, click lock. Done.
Nice.
And then it automatically will lock that individual app or individual note so that no one else can get in it. Keeps it private for you. So those are some really handy things that you can just use in the Notes app right away.
I love that because we were out at the boat and Barry's like, I need to make a list of everything that's wrong with the boat. One thing that I've never had a boat like this before, there's always something wrong with the boat. I'm just telling you. It's like whatever day it is, it's like something doesn't work. Maybe it's
Isn't there a joke about like
break out another
best day of
1,000?
a boat owner's life is the day they sell the boat?
Yes, there is. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still in the romance stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's like, do you have a pen? And I'm like, I don't think so. Let me look. And so I looked around the boat, couldn't find a pen. And then he said, well, how am I going to write all this stuff down? And I looked at him, I'm like, oh my God, are you trying to make a list of things that are wrong with the boat? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, Notes app.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. And then I showed him how he could dictate it.
Oh,
Nice.
And then
so then he just angry talked about the boat into his phone.
This boat.
the goddamn mechanic. Yeah, I can't do anything right. Fixes one thing, breaks three others. How about you, Al? What do you got for us?
We're talking steps and walking. We just wrote about recently in The Current. This is my I digress moment, but this is not a fitness podcast, but I'm going to talk about it anyway for a minute.
Yeah.
So that 10,000 number, you've probably heard us say by now, well, that was made up basically to sell pedometers. The real thing to aim for, if you're trying to get in better shape, because this reduces your chance of a heart attack, a stroke, certain kinds of cancers, all kinds of stuff, is about 2 hours of activity a week. And I'm not saying you have to, go crazy. This is just like breathing a little harder than if you were sitting on the couch. So a brisk walk will do it for you. And so you want to track this stuff, right? And how do you do it? You don't have to buy a smartwatch. You don't have to buy a pedometer. You don't have to buy, one of those $300 rings. You don't have to get anything fancy. You can do it with your phone and the stuff that's built in. If you have, and the way this works, by the way, our phones have, I don't even know how many sensors, so many.
Tons.
And the accelerometers measure the acceleration of your phone as it moves. And so that paired with the GPS that can tell where you're going and if you're moving, can give you a pretty accurate picture of how much you're walking. So you have a couple options. I would start with the built-in because you don't have to download anything extra. Google Fit or Apple Health, they work pretty well. They can give you a good idea of your heart rate around different times, your fitness level, your, how much you've been walking, steps, mileage, whatever it is. But there are some apps that are a bit more accurate. The third-party ones can, do a little bit better for this. Map My Walk is the most popular option out there. Kim uses that one. And you're probably going to see more accuracy if you care about the steps. If you're just going for your 2 hours, whatever, keep track of it. But it is nice to see these things. And it kind of makes you feel more motivated, right?
Yeah.
When you see.
It's like, you're like, I did that. I did 322 steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does, it seems to me that Map My Walk from Under Armour, it's free, is much more accurate than the Apple app itself.
Yeah.
But they also have Map My Ride. I can map everything.
I used to use Map My Run. I will say those are free apps. You don't need to pay for some fancy app to do it for you. Just like you don't need a smartwatch, you don't need some app that's going to charge you $10 a month to measure your fitness, unless it's for something very specific that you need. Go with a free app for this, totally.
Well, that's awesome. But I was thinking, like we talked about before, like, they have Map My Ride, Map My Walk, Map My Sex. I mean, it's just like Under Armour, they're just into everything. It's just kind of crazy. Hey, listen, if you love these short little tips, make sure that you get our Daily Tech Update podcast, because every single day you get one tech update, and then you get also a digital life hack, which they're just exploding. And so if you're not getting this podcast, just sign up. Because what's really great about them, they're 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes total. So what you do is you get up, and then you fire up the podcast, and then you start brushing your teeth. And then by the end, you have fresh tech know-how and you have fresh breath at the same time. But speaking of steps, what does Pink Panther say when he steps on an ant? What does Pink Panther say when he steps on an ant? Dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant. Dead ant. I know. Boy. Okay, sorry about that. Coming up, we have one woman's amazing thrift store find. I always read about these. Do you guys read about these? And you're like, how come it's always someone else?
I just saw one about that. Yes.
We have the first posts on social media platforms we're going to be sharing with you. And then we also have a way to make lists that you can access on any device. And of course, we have that incredibly funny joke, kind of maybe almost, from Allie at the end that you don't want to miss. Okay, so here's the deal. This is Kim Commando Today, and it's a great podcast. And so we need you to do us a solid. Do us a favor. Tell 3 friends about the Kim Commando Today podcast, because this way you get to spread the tech know-how. I mean, just don't keep it to yourself. I know you like to keep us your little secret weapon of sorts, but, we need to have more listeners. That's just it. Okay, because it's competitive. So we need you to tell 3 people about the podcast. And while you're at it, if you learned one thing, and even if you kind of laugh at any of our corny jokes, is that you want to also give us a great 5-star review. So, just do it. Help us out. Tell 3 friends and give us a great 5-star review. Okay, so here's the what the heck headline of the week. Woman finds 4 plates for $6 made by Picasso in a thrift store.
No way.
That's right. Yeah, her name is Nancy Cavalier. She was shopping at a thrift store in New York when she picked up 4 cool plates. And they're black and they have a unique little smiley faces on them. She's like, oh, this might be fun for like when the girls come over for tea.
Yeah.
Okay. When she gets back to the house, she checks them out a little bit further. And that's where she started to go like freaked out because on the back was Pablo Picasso's signature. Okay. I guess he had ceramics for a while and he sold everyday items, plates and bowls and pitchers and things like that. So she had them authenticated. She put them up for auction. And she sold them for $16,000.
Whoa, baby.
It's a little bit of a come up, I'd say.
It kind of makes you want to go to a thrift store, doesn't it? Just to
sure does.
kind of look around. You know, I tried donating 2 classic board games to a thrift store, but they said they could only take 1. And I asked, which one? And they said, sorry, we don't want trouble.
Board game jokes.
I know. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
It's just who she is.
Yes. All right. So, Matt.
Yes.
Our very own internet scout, talk to us.
Well, if you haven't heard, there is another new social media out there.
Oh my gosh.
It's called Threads. It's like we needed more, right?
Have you tried it?
You know, I signed up the day after because everybody was like, you gotta see this. It's crazy. It's not that crazy.
I don't understand it.
It just looks like Twitter, right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, why?
Yeah.
Why do we need one more place? And then, then I love this because all the tech sites are like going, oh, it's going to be the Twitter killer. It's going to be this. Okay. If you start really thinking about it, okay, Twitter has what, 400, 500 million users?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Facebook has 2 billion users.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're also on Instagram. Okay. So if they couldn't get 100 million out of the 2 billion to sign up,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 5%.
Yeah.
It's not. So that's why sometimes I look at all these tech sites. I'm like going, oh my gosh, just, read beyond the headlines, folks. But anyway, so talk to us about Threads.
So everybody's trying to figure out their first thing to post on Threads, right? I haven't posted anything, but there's a whole thread on there. Is that what they call them? Threads? I don't know.
Yes.
There's a whole Threads thing on Threads of people trying to discuss what the best thing posted on, what the first post from any company or celebrity or what have you is on Threads. And that got me thinking, what was the first post on all these other social medias? I don't remember everybody having the conversation of like, what's going to be my first post on this or that or this? And it was a different time. So I thought I'd go through some of these sites and we can talk about the very first post. So we'll start with YouTube. There's a very famous video uploaded in 2005, the very, very first video. It's titled Me at the Zoo. And it's Joe and Kareem just hanging out at the zoo by the elephant exhibit.
And it has how many views?
Oh my gosh.
Like 70 billion or something like that.
Crazy thing.
Yeah, I think everybody, when you first get on YouTube, you're like, what was the first thing on this? And then you Google it, and there you go, and you watch it.
Wouldn't that be funny, though, if you Googled it and then you got rickrolled?
That would be hilarious.
We should do some SEO poisoning.
Yeah. The first thing on Instagram was actually a picture taken at South Beach Harbor, Pier 38 in San Francisco, and it was taken by Mike Krieger in 2010. It's a really plain photo, just like with the sepia filter that Instagram got famous for, looking out at the ocean, and it's just got that little Dutch angle where it's just slightly tilted, and it's just like, okay. Well.
Let me tell you something. If that would have been taken today in San Francisco, it would have been like some drug addict on the street or something like that. I mean, it's awful there.
The first post on Twitter, I bet you can guess who did it. It was Jack Dorsey, obviously. Jack Dorsey?
No, I know. I'm going to try to guess. No. I know. I want to guess this one because I think I might know it.
Okay, go ahead.
Did he do a Hello World?
He did not. We're coming up to that one, though. Let's see if you can guess which one that is. He actually just said, setting up my Twitter back in 2006. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, wasn't it like they didn't spell it out back then?
No, it was TWTR. Twitter.
Nonsense.
Yeah, Twitter.
Because, when he had too many characters, it was, how could he write
He
out
couldn't write
Twitter?
it, yeah. That's when you could only post 20 characters on it.
Yeah. TikTok used to be called something called Musical.ly. You might not know this, but it was a while ago. It was called Musical.ly. The very first thing on there was by a user called Poet is Dead. And it's like the weirdest video. It's from 2014. And it's just like panning around the sky in a park. And it's like, and how did that go from that to like dancing people in China taking all your info? I don't know, but that's how it started. Not necessarily a social media, but Wikipedia Their very first page, can you guess what the first page on Wikipedia was?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia?
It was for Wikipedia.
Hey.
Yeah.
But the first edit to Wikipedia was, Allie?
Hello World.
Hello World, made
there
back
you
in
go.
2001. Next up is Facebook. The very first picture ever posted on a wall on Facebook was, of course, of Mark Zuckerberg sitting in that famous house in California where he lived with all the other engineers. And it's just him sitting at a table with his headphones on and a McDonald's cup in front of him and just sitting there programming. And that was the very first photo ever on Facebook.
Being the worst.
Thought that was interesting. Yep, just being the worst. Now, one more non-social media, Airbnb.
Oh.
The very first home ever listed on Airbnb was the Mushroom House Cabin that is in Aptos, California, and was listed in 2009. It's a little house that's shaped like a mushroom in the middle of California. That was the first one. Cool thing is, it's still available. You can still stay there to this day. It's still available.
Do you get like mushrooms when you stay at the mushroom house?
I mean, you can probably eat it. I think it's made of mushrooms.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
There you go. Finally, we got to talk about Threads. The very first post on Threads was on July 5th, not that long ago, and it was from Mark Zuckerberg, and it said, "Let's do this. Welcome to Threads."
All right.
Boring.
Okay.
Nothing.
Whatever.
All right. But this
Whatever.
made me think. I went and looked at my very first post online on social media, but I'll do mine last. Why don't you guys tell me what your very first post on social media
Oh
was?
man, I should have looked for like my live journal.
Your MySpace.
I was just going to say my MySpace account.
Yeah. I did look at Facebook and I had a post. So this was back in the days where everybody wrote their posts where it was like, it starts with your name and then so you finish the sentence.
Allie is.
Allie is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And I was dreading work because I had to
Nice.
work early.
Oh, womp womp.
Cool.
Womp womp. Well, I you know what? I tried to find my first Facebook post because you asked me to, Matt, and
Yeah.
ADD kicked in, and all I saw was just like, 13 years ago, I said, I am back among civilization after 10 days with no internet access in the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, no internet. Ew.
What was your first Facebook, Matt?
Mine was I was sitting in a college class and I just posted, "I'm so tired, it's weird."
It's so weird. This
All
is
of
so
our early
weird.
posts were so cringy. I mean,
Yes.
it was hard to look at. I was like,
I completely
geez.
agree. What about, I looked at my first Instagram.
Yeah.
True to form, mine was some cookies that I had just baked.
Oh, good. That's nice. I like that. And then you found mine, right?
Yeah. And I had to ask you what it was.
It was
Maui.
Maui. It was some of the lava rocks in Maui, and it was January 1st.
Oh.
So obviously that was starting out a new
Yeah.
year with
Yeah.
a new social media app, and I was super excited because actually I was disappointed because when I looked, I was like, I only got 8 likes. What's up with that?
The filters back then.
Of course, all those sepia and black and white filters. I thought I was being so artistic. My very first picture was literally the word "bored" in bubble letters written on a piece of paper.
Okay, so we see a trend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tired and bored.
I was tired and bored. It's
tired
college.
and bored.
I don't know what you want.
No, that's true. There is that. All right. Still to come, we have a way to make lists that you can access from any device. And Allie's got a really decent joke that you're going to like, and you don't want to miss that here on Kim Commando today. Hey, it's Kim Commando today, and that means you need to get the full package. And I want you to get VIP. What that means is to get that VIP status is that you need to go to commando.com/subscribe and get the free newsletters because you will be among the first to get the daily afternoon life hacks newsletter. So once again, that's commando.com/subscribe. Once again, that's commando.com/subscribe. So you're going to be talking about lists, Allie.
I am.
How many lists do you think we run across on the internet every single day?
The limit does not exist. Just like infinite lists.
Trillions?
Yeah.
Just keeps going on and on. I saw a list. It said like 100 things to do before you die. Okay. So I'm like, all right, I got to see this.
Sure.
I'm going to see it. So it's like, go see the Grand Canyon. Okay. Bake a cake and also. But the thing that was missing, I got all the way to the bottom. Like, the one thing that is missing, just one thing on this list of 100 things to do before you die. You know what was missing?
What?
Okay.
Subscribe.
Yell for help. What's going on with that? All right, so talk to us about lists, Allie.
Well, here is a really dorky phrase that I never thought I would say on a podcast. Cross-device compatibility.
Ooh.
It's important. Seriously, though. So say, we're on all these different gadgets all the time. Yesterday, I kept track. I was on my PC working. I was on my phone, which is a Pixel. I was on my MacBook doing some work. I was on a Pixel tablet reading a cookbook. And I was on a Kindle reading a book.
Wow.
Okay. All of these different devices. And if I say I make myself a note or a list on my PC, if I can't access it on all my other stuff,
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
what's the point? It's useless to me, right? Especially like think about Matt, your grocery list example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I make that on my computer and then what? I'm screwed when I get to the store because I forgot my list. So I think when you are looking for a solution, if you are the person, maybe you're like me and you have to write things down to remember them, you need a way to do that that's smart. And so this is me telling you, as your friend, don't just use whatever notepad or, open up the random program on your computer. You need to use something that you can use across all of your devices, and it will seriously make your life so much easier. Now, I'll get to this in a minute. Like Matt said, I use a program called Notion, which I pay for because I think it's worth it. But you don't have to pay for anything. You can do this with stuff that's already built into your devices. And like a lot of things we suggest, go with whatever ecosystem you're already in. So if you are an iPhone person and maybe you have a Mac and an iPad, great, use Notes. Because if you're signed in with the same Apple ID across all of those, all your stuff syncs. And so you can see it everywhere. It's so nice. If you are an Android person and you have a PC and, I don't know, a Pixel tablet like I've been using, great. You can put the Google Keep app, or you can use, you're probably a Google person, right? If you have all that Android stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so you can use the Google products. So go with whatever system you're already in, and I bet you there's some kind of to-do list thing. Apple and Google have one. There's stuff for Microsoft that you can use. If you don't like any of those options, or if you don't want Google to be the one in control of this, or you don't like Apple, whatever, you can go with a third party. There are so many options out there. We've written about them over the years. You can search the site for some of these names, but things like Todoist is good, AnyDo, Evernote. I use Notion.
Yeah.
Like I said, some are free, some you pay a little bit for. I think I pay for a year at a time, and I think it works out to like $8 a person a month.
Oh.
My husband uses it too. And for us, it's worth it. So if you find a solution you love and you're willing to pay a little bit of money for it, fine, if you're actually going to use it. Otherwise, go with a free one, make sure it works for you, and then maybe you can upgrade later if you decide that it's worth it.
Maybe I'll have to try that because me, I still have everything written in a book, and because I've tried all of this.
Yeah, I used to be a book person too because the same thing. I would like scribble on paper, or I would scribble on, digitally, like something in a little,
Sure.
open up a sticky on my computer.
Sure.
But then later you're like, where is that?
Where did that go? Yes.
But I don't always have the notebook. So I do like doing it somewhere that feels like
Okay, let me
all
try
of my
that.
thoughts live here.
I'm going to try because I noticed that over the last couple of weeks, I haven't been writing things down in my book.
Oh.
And I keep saying, okay, I have to start using it. I have to start using it. And it's like, no. Okay, so Notion, it's, what'd you say, $8 a month?
Yep.
Okay, I'll have to try that. Okay, drum roll. Okay, Allie, take it away.
All right. Little Johnny was playing outside and he saw a honeybee and he went over and he stepped on it. His dad saw this and he said, I saw what you did. And for that, you get no honey for 2 weeks. Ooh. And Johnny said, I don't care. I don't like honey anyway.
Of course he did.
About 15 minutes later, Johnny, still playing outside, Dad's keeping watch from the window, and a butterfly lands on his hand. And Johnny rips off one of the wings. His dad runs out and he said, I saw that. You don't get any butter for a month. And Johnny says, I don't care. I don't even like butter. Later, Johnny and his dad go in for dinner. And Johnny's mom, she's cooking at the stove, and then she sees a cockroach on the floor. And she steps on it. And Johnny looks up at his dad and says, do you want to tell her or should I?
Oh, you know what? That was good.
That was good.
Okay.
Thank you.
That was actually you know what? I'm going to tell that one at dinner tonight.
Yeah, I got a belly laugh out of me. That
I
was
think
good.
that's a really good one. And on that happy note, make sure that, again, that you tell at least, well, since that was just a great joke. We used to say 3 people, but now you got to send 5 people. So you got to send 5 people to us. to, just send them a little note. Maybe you stand on the corner with the street sign, whatever it may be, spinning it, saying, listen to Kim Komando today. Just search Komando. You can just tell them wherever you get your podcast. And thanks for listening, and make sure that you get our newsletters, and we'll see you again here next week, all three of us, but I'll see you tomorrow with another Kim Komando Today podcast.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.